In this episode, we speak with Kimberlie Lee, co-founder and CEO of Prime Roots, a sustainable protein company using koji fungi and mycelium to craft meat and seafood alternatives that nourish both people and the planet. A lifelong food lover and the daughter of a chef, Kim studied agricultural microbiology at UC Berkeley and became a passionate food systems innovator. She's a member of the Institute of Food Technologists and the James Beard Foundation, and has been featured in major outlets like the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, and Food and Wine. Prime Roots is reinventing deli culture by reimagining protein at its source, offering delicious umami-rich meats made with 92% less water and 89% less water eutrophication than animal-based meats, all while avoiding 9 kilograms of CO2 emissions per kilogram of Prime Roots bacon. I'm your host, RJ Lumba. We hope you enjoy the show. If you like the episode, click to follow.
RJ Lumba is the executive chairman of Market Insight Media and the managing partner of GrowthCap. He is the host of Great Entrepreneurs, a podcast for driven entrepreneurs and business owners. Our podcast covers all topics related to the entrepreneurial journey, from ideation to execution to optimization and to reaping the rewards of a well-run business. In the minutes ahead, we'll share with you unique insights and tactics from some of today's most accomplished and inspiring entrepreneurs.
Kim, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. It's a delight to be with you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So I love deli meats. My wife will purchase them for the kids for their sandwiches, and I will just go right in and eat the deli meat straight from the package, not even, put it on bread or make a sandwich. And so really curious because I'm trying to be a healthy eater, right? But deli meats are known to have preservatives and are not the healthiest thing to eat. You've created an alternative to this and you're experiencing great growth in your business. And then there's things to think about when ordering a plant-based or eating a plant-based product. There's been a lot of products that have entered the market, Beyond Meat, Impossible Foods, and then there's downsides to it. And one could think okay, these are processed just as anything else is processed, and we're always trying to get to the whole foods. But you're processing this, and you're using a key ingredient of, I think it's koji mycelium. Is that right? And so, tell us about that raw ingredient. How healthy is it to make a whole slew of products out of that one base ingredient? And then second, whenever you process anything, it goes further away from its pure form. So you would like to start there. Could you tell us a little bit about the raw ingredient?
Yeah, absolutely. 77% of US consumers are looking to eat healthier. So you're not alone. It's actually the vast majority of people are looking to eat healthier, and that's according to the American Heart Health Association. So, we know that's not a trend. That's just the way that food is moving for a lot of different reasons. And I think especially over the last, call it 3 to 6 months in the US, a lot of rhetoric around food, right? Really scrutinizing the labels, what goes in our food. And I am actually really happy that people are taking the time and curious about what's in their food and asking for better. Because when I started my company in 2017, so it's been 7 years now, my mom's a chef, so I wanted to make something that would meet the mom tests, both from a chef mom, so something that she would be proud to serve on her menus, but also something that she'd be proud to serve at home. So I have 4 siblings. We definitely love, sandwiches, and it's a convenient food, right? And it's actually, sandwiches are the most consumed food in America. You asked about the processing. We only do deli because it is the one meat that really isn't great for you. Doctors are constantly telling their patients, you got to reduce your deli meat, your processed meat intake, because it is really far from, the original source. You're taking a bird, turkey, chicken, or cow, all different types of animals. You have to process it, add all the nitrates, the preservatives. You add a lot to it to make it into a deli meat. And so actually what we do is actually less processed than a lot of these processed deli meats are. We don't use any of the preservatives. So we are nitrate free, which according to the World Health Organization is a carcinogen, and that's known. And we're feeding that to our kids every single day. And so wanted to find a better solution, and it can be plant-based and have all the taste that you expect without all the bad sides of deli meat. So unlike I think a lot of other plant-based companies have maybe focused on either whole cuts or these products that people already think are not necessarily bad for you, or there's not really much of an argument against them. We're actually going after the most vilified meat out there and like really making it better. And so it's better whether you're a meat eater or not a meat eater, and it delivers that convenience, which I think is really important. And it is just better for you. So we like to say, you get the taste without the negative health impacts.
Hmm. And is that the raw ingredient here? Is that like a plant extract?
No, so we don't extract anything. So it's a whole food protein from fungi. So think like the roots of mushrooms. We're not like extruding it and extracting the protein. It's actually in its whole form factor, high in protein, very meat-like in texture. That's why I say it's actually less processed than a lot of like traditional deli meats even because we're actually using the whole food with all its protein. It has some fiber, and actually in studies, fungi-based proteins have been shown to build muscle better in bodybuilders than even whey protein, which, is a key source of protein for many bodybuilders out there.
So is there a part of, I guess, North America where this fungi is abundant?
So, yeah, you've had it before. If you've had miso, soy sauce, you've already had koji. I mean, fungi are everywhere. And so it's a very common food. People always think that it may taste like mushrooms. It doesn't. Our meats actually taste like the meats that you know and love.
Got it. And so, given that it seems like it's less processed, then the question is like, okay, if you eat a certain amount of it, does it get like anything, right? Anything in excess can become negative. Are there any downsides to like consuming this form of deli meat every day?
No, I mean, if you eat this form of deli meat versus the conventional deli meat, it's definitely much, much better for
Right.
you in every regard, because you're still getting the protein that you expect. You don't get any of the nitrates that are like literally going to give us all cancer.
Awesome. And what about the texture of it?
So all the meats actually have different textures. So we have hams, turkey, salami, and a few other products, and they all actually have a very similar texture to what you would expect. And so like our ham is a different texture than the turkey that's a little flakier, different than our salami that's like actually dried. And so they're all very different in texture, but it's what you would expect.
And when you first started the company years ago, was it this original idea, or did you start with something else and eventually you discovered, oh, we should do deli meats?
The fundamental idea was the same. Like, how can we make a more sustainable, better for you protein source that can feed, billions and billions of people on planet Earth in a more sustainable way? I am a proud flexitarian, so I'm actually not a vegan. And if you like look under the hood at how meat is made, beef, for example, takes 30 calories of feed. Cows are eating wheat, rice, soy, like, these perfectly fine materials that humans can eat to make into 1 calorie of beef. Crazy. You're wasting 29 calories. Like we actually don't have enough land, water, resources to sustain our like love for meat in a society. And there's just better ways to make the protein that we want and we crave and we need. And we can do it in a way that's the same form factor and actually better than the conventional meats that we're used to eating.
I haven't checked the price points, but I just assume that your price points are going to be higher than a regular deli meat.
If you've been into like a Boar's Head Deli, our prices are usually exactly the same.
Oh, okay.
So we're actually priced with like the quality deli meats out in the market.
And where can they purchase prime roots?
We're pretty much coast to coast now. I think we're in like 30 something states. So if you go to primeroots.com, there's a store locator you can find if there's products near you. And if not, hopefully we will be soon.
And how's it been growing? I know sometimes you can't share metrics, but like in general, how's the company been growing?
So we launched the line about a little under 3 years ago at this point. So we've been growing very readily since we've launched. We are in a traditional industry, so we've had to really, figure out how do we break into distribution. We have a lot of excitement from consumers and operators, like grocery stores, restaurants. Sometimes actually the hard part is getting the products to them. So a lot of learnings along the way. The US is a very large country, so hopefully we'll be in all 50 states soon, but we're getting there.
But in each kind of like location that you sell in, you're seeing growth kind of year over year or
Yeah,
month over month.
Yeah, like our first customers are still proud customers today, and we've grown with them. And as we've told our story and gotten more people just aware that this concept can exist, I think a lot of meat eaters, especially, are like, wait, like I would totally try that. I didn't even know that that option existed. And getting people to the deli, because unlike, plant-based products are typically found in kind of the plant-based kind of section of the store where like meat eaters aren't going, like our impact comes when a family of meat eaters will, add a plant-based option or swap to a plant-based option. You actually like walk to the deli, order like, a half pound, quarter pound of our meats. So we're still, just getting the awareness out there that we're at the deli doing something different and an option that people can feel really good about, both from a taste perspective and a health perspective.
I haven't been following like Impossible or Beyond Meat's numbers, but I remember there was like a hyped up period where it was like in the media, everyone was trying it. Everyone was kind of like doing the comparison. If you were to kind of compare Prime Roots to those companies, what would you say is the difference? I mean, obviously you're in a different product form, but you can make meat out of plants, so that's kind of the similarity. What would you say is the big difference? Is it just the raw ingredient? Is it the taste? Is it the texture? Is it less like downsides to ingesting? How would you compare it?
Definitely health and just processing. Like I would say that those are very, very heavily processed products. To make a textured protein, you have to like I think your initial question was, do you extract this protein out? That's how it's done today with plant-based products. We didn't want to go down that route. We wanted to make something that was less processed, and we knew that from day one. And so forever grateful for the work that Beyond and Impossible have done to really educate, the public, the general population now knows about plant-based products that they can sizzle and cook like meat. But consumers are now flipping those labels, like more of like a macro trend, but they're flipping over labels. They're like, what is this that I'm putting into my body? Why is there so much sodium? Why is there all these products I can't pronounce the ingredient list? So I think our ingredient list and the way we do things really says it all. Like we have a short ingredient list. You can pronounce everything. We use whole foods for our protein base. We don't use like hyper processed plant proteins. So that's been us from the very beginning. We've known that that is where things need to be. And now, the industry is making that shift towards actually making these products better for you, because I think it's a missed opportunity because people assume that plant-based products are better. And I think it's our opportunity to really make that product that is better. So, and we've done that in a category where it's actually not that hard to make better products because nitrates are killer, literally.
hmm I also love eating steak and the texture of steak, the flavor of steak. Have you experimented with actually just trying to make a steak where you could literally stick a fork in it and cut it with a knife and have it be close to the real experience?
Yeah, so I mean the cool thing about our like core technology that we developed is we can make any type of meat. So we're really, really focused on deli meats. So we can have a very cohesive story slash product line. But even within that, we do make different types of proteins. But my vision from day one was like, how do I build a foundational company that can address people's love for all different types of proteins? We actually started as a seafood company. Like that was our first
Mm-hmm.
proof of concept was tackle the hardest, like flavor, texture, did that and tried a lot of different form factors, including beef and chicken and all of that, but really ended up in the deli because it just aligned with our like overall vision of being able to have a more sustainable, better for you option for every protein type in like a meat counter. The deli meat counter is just, another meat counter with a lot of protein types and also a lot of not so great things about deli meats that we can fix.
I'm curious if you always wanted to be an entrepreneur and if you were like searching for the idea to embark on, or was it that you were like a food science undergrad or had this affinity? You mentioned your family background, your mom is a chef. Your decision to start the company, was it driven by your desire to be an entrepreneur or a desire to put this out into the world?
I get asked this question a lot. And also, I get asked the question, like, how do I come up with an idea? It's funny because I grew up in a very entrepreneurial family because both of my families are entrepreneurial. So I feel like the way I look at the world is like, ooh, there's an opportunity here, there's a need there, there's a problem that we can solve. And that's just how I've always been hardwired. So the hard part was actually figuring out which idea to pursue. It wasn't the lack of
Hmm.
ideas or like I didn't necessarily want to be an entrepreneur. It's just like very second nature to me. And so yeah, it's interesting because I'm like thinking now it's like, oh, in a day where you have I feel like it would be so interesting to start a company and like, be able to ideate like so many different things and so I think it would have made my problem harder, but I think for a lot of people who are like looking to start companies, there's no better time.
One of the things we like to talk about is like how it is to interact with investors, because like there can be all different dynamics when you bring in outside investors, good and bad. You always hope to have a very strong alignment of interests and vision. Can you tell us a little bit about that, the entrepreneur's perspective of having outside capital partners?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, for those who are listening, getting investor money is not the right choice for all companies.
Hmm.
We have a lot of technology. It took us 5 years to develop our core technology before even launching a product. If you can bootstrap, I would say go for it. Like I think there is something so freeing about being able to not have anyone to really report to and really, drive your own agenda and get to those proof points if you can and have the means to. We've raised a fair amount of capital. We've raised like over 50 million to date at Prime Roots, and it is a full-time job when you fundraise. Or there are many founders that are always fundraising, and it's like a big part of your job that people don't realize is a huge time suck. And finding the right partners is the most critical thing. And sometimes it's fundraising can, be in and of itself like a pursuit that really takes you away from the business and takes you away from building what you set out to build. And that's something I think people don't realize. We've been super fortunate to have very supportive investors that are aligned with our mission. And if you find the right partners, they can be the ones to help you realign to your like core purpose and vision and mission sometimes if you're like, straying off the path. So we've been very, very fortunate. And I can tell you a lot more people have the opposite experience of that, where investors become most of your day every day and it's just hard to build your business. So everything has its pros and its cons.
Is there one key thing that you could point to where your investors have provided value beyond simply the financial infusion, but where they, in a way, helped move the needle of moving you more towards success than not success?
If you have good investors, that should be the case constantly. And like I think we're really fortunate to have that where, one of our investors, they have a saying, the answer is always in the room. So whether it be another portfolio company within their team, we reach out when we have challenges or questions or are thinking about something and they can be sounding boards so they can connect you to the right person. Like somebody knows someone who knows somebody that you like can help you solve the problem who's lived that before. And so I know it's easier said than done, but it's really, really important who you take money from. Like they could literally dictate like where your company goes. They can make or break you.
We're entering into the tail end. I have two final questions. Before I ask that, is there one piece of advice that you'd give to another entrepreneur earlier in their journey that you've been through where you'd say, focus on this one thing?
Focus on solving problems and talking to actual consumers of your product. So it doesn't have to be like consumers, but whoever is going to be buying your product, especially early on, people are pretty receptive to helping and especially when it's not, a sales call, like people want to be helpful. So the more you do that, the closer you get to something that people actually wanted, a problem that, is a real problem. And change is good. There's a saying, it's like if you're not a different company every 6 months as an early stage business, you're not growing fast enough. You're not learning fast enough. And
Mhm.
to do that, you just got to get out in front of more customers and just learn more about the market and your product. It's really easy to build in a vacuum. So definitely something I would suggest.
Excellent. Last two questions. One is, can you tell us about a person who's had a profound influence on you?
That's a good question. Well, my mom, she's like a big inspiration will give me the tough love on the product and otherwise in the business. And so turn to your family, call them more, which I'm very bad at.
Mhm.
But keep your friends close and your family even closer because they'll tell you how it is.
Yeah. Last question. Can you tell us about a charity cause or other endeavor that you're passionate about?
I have a lot, but I think Feeding America is one that's very close to my heart. It's crazy how rich we are as a country, and yet so many people are food insecure and don't have access to food, let alone healthy foods. So I feel very privileged every day to be building, the future of food, but always thinking about how can we make sure that the foods that we're making that, are reducing people's cancer risk and they're actually good for people are getting to all places, not just for, those that can afford it.
Excellent. And we'll put a link to the charity in our show notes. Kim, want to thank you so much for taking the time. This has been a wonderful conversation.
Thanks, RJ. Thanks for having me.